This is Kelly from My Care, My Choice, and today I'm here with Nadia to talk about her story in the aged care system in Australia. So, Nadia, do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
I had a few careers. I was trained as a secretary, and then I wasn't a good secretary. It wasn't me. So I went into nursing when I was 18. I did half my training, and we had an interesting process in those days. Before you could be taken into nursing or go into nursing, you had to do a vocational guidance test. And after I did that, I was told that I would be okay with the academic side of it, but I didn't have the temperament. And they were quite right, because I liked looking after patients, but I would never have managed surgery and emergency. I wasn't that kind of calm, cool, collected person. So I left halfway through, even though I missed it. I loved the actual nursing. And then I became a ground hostess I went up north to become a governess on a station in out 50 k's out of Port Hedland, and I enjoyed being up there in the north. It was a wonderful introduction to the wild northwest. I loved it, but I was very lonely. Didn't last there more than about 3 months, and came back and just landed the most glamorous job in Perth at that time, which was to be a ground hostess receptionist for Qantas. It was a very small company in those days, about 5 of us, one little office and a couple of traffic officers out at the airport. So to see how it is now, it just mind boggles. Yeah,
Totally.
that was good. And then I got married after that. I left a job like that to get married.
That was before feminism, I'm assuming.
Exactly. I must have been crazy. You had to leave when you got married
Of
in those
course.
days, yes.
Yeah, okay. And Nadia, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 84 this year.
84.
I'm not yet 84, but I will be.
Fantastic. Well, you don't look a day over 72.
Oh, thank you. I can feel any age I like.
Good for you. Good for you. So, Nadia, what was your first experience with the aged care system? Do you mind telling me a little bit about the reason why you came into contact with it?
Well, yes, it was the biggest surprise of my life, because I was very healthy. I was renovating my house and making several gardens on my property. I was 64 and I felt 40, and I was behaving like I was 40. and my husband had to go in for a 6 bypass operation on his heart, and I saw him through that, and our sons had to see them through it too, because they were worried. And when he came home, I thought he'd have to be treated rather delicately for a while, even though he rallied pretty well. They were so good to him in the hospital and the doctors. And I was trying to wait on him, and I'd, as I say, been very active, and I just took it for granted that I had all that energy. But I just collapsed after about a month after he came home, and I had mobility problems. I had a lot of pain and problems walking, raising myself up from a chair, and standing. A lot of skeletal pain, and my muscles didn't seem to want to move and work. And I went on to one walking stick and went around and searched the doctors to find out what it was. And I was diagnosed with polymyalgia rheumatica, which is a rheumatoid in the muscles, ligaments and joints, not just a sore joint here and there, which is bad enough. And it started with a twinge in one knee, so I'm writing a cameo story on that beginning, calling it a twinge in one knee, and it ended up in 20 years out of my life.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, not completely out of my life. I've made another world. I've made another life.
Yes.
But it took that life away.
Yes.
Yep.
Definitely.
20 years of it.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing.
So that's what led me. I went to a chiropractor for some treatment. He was very good at helping me. But he suggested I get aged care, and they had a lovely assessment nurse from Sir Charles Gardner. She was delightful, and they just choose a care provider for you. And in those days, I was given 21 hours. Now I have 11.
11. Okay. All right.
So it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So have you been involved with aged care providers for the last 20 years then?
Almost, about 15. When I first got it, I could still get around a little on one stick, then 2 sticks, then I was in a wheelchair. I drove for a little while until the rheumatoid started to make it dangerous to drive.
Yeah.
If I'd go and have a meal in a cafe, I'd have to get help to get up to walk again. And if I stopped in the street to talk to someone in my local shopping centre, I couldn't start up again without really thinking about it. So I think there was something neurological going on there, and it might have had something to do with the stress. They say a lot of these autoimmune diseases are stress related.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and I had been probably overdoing it and pushing on.
Yeah, I've heard that as well about autoimmune, and I think it's hard when you're such a busy person and you're running around doing things for other people, and and have all these goals that you want to achieve.
Absolutely, and it taught me, and I had to admit that I'd taken my health for granted. I hadn't been in hospital or to a doctor from the age of about 3 or 4 till I had my first baby. At 23, 24.
Yeah.
So, I really took my good health for granted. I walked a lot, I played sport, I swam, I watched my diet, I was organic in my diet, and full of purpose and lots of things ahead to do, and there it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So can you tell me about one of your most positive experiences with aged care?
Oh, I love this experience. It was a very strange beginning because I had mostly older women. Mostly I had one male carer at one time, but they sent me this very young girl. She was 19. So it was an interesting meeting because here was I thinking, a young girl, is she going to know enough to keep me on my feet when she's got to help me, and does she really know much about this complaint? And she was very prickly because the care providers, because I stood up for myself and I just didn't take anything lying down, forgive the pun, but they had warned her, be careful of this lady, which is a really very bad thing to do. It doesn't make for a good start. So she was very prickly, and I didn't know whether we were going to make it, but we just pushed on, and she eventually became an angel, an absolute angel. Very clever young woman, wanted to do medicine, was still trying to get into medicine. Very, very intelligent, had some experience with disabled people from after she left school. And we just got on so well. I called her my Y generation. She was cool, calm and collected. Nothing ruffled her. She was confident, and the way she helped me and supported me and moved me. I was needing help to get onto a shower chair and get back to bed, that kind of thing. I had every confidence. We had one shaky moment, which is what I always remember about her. We would put the shower chair up to the end of the bed, and I would sit on the side of the bed, and the big ask was that I be moved over onto the chair. And when I was on the chair, I was supposed to might have been getting back into bed. I had to have a bit more help, and I was really, really scared, and the scare was almost immobilising me, that I would fall. And this beautiful young woman knelt down and looked up at me with shining eyes and a big smile, and she said, "You'll be all right." And I've loved her ever since. I really have loved her ever since. And I was all right, and I was all right for 9 years. She's been helping me for 9 years. And that was an experience that I never had again.
Sounds like you never forgot it either.
Never forgot it. Never will. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Just goes to show that it doesn't matter what your age or your background. It's about your relationship, isn't it, with the people that are looking after you?
It is, and it's that transfer of confidence. Like, she was confident, and I could feel that. And that confidence relayed itself to me to trust her. And she did it so smoothly and miraculously. She never hurt me. She never left me feeling rusted or depleted. I always felt more than after she'd cared for me. So something about the youth, the energy maybe, the attitude, the intelligence, definitely.
Sounds like we need some more young people then.
I'll say. Experience is very, very good, but freshness and energy, it gives something to us. It really does. It's catching. It's infectious.
Vitality is infectious. Nadia was she was kind enough to leave a review of a provider on the My Care, My Choice, and we connected through that way. And I've really enjoyed hearing her stories and getting to know her and finding out a little bit more about her and who she is. So this is Kelly from My Care, My Choice. Thanks so much for listening.